Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. In this video, we'll be diving into a key aspect of pharmaceutical operations, equipment and instrument qualification. This critical process ensures that all equipment and instruments used in manufacturing and quality control are functioning accurately, reliably, and in compliance with stringent regulatory standards. By the end of this session, you'll gain a clear understanding of why qualification is essential, how it safeguards product quality and patient safety, and the key steps involved in executing a robust qualification program. In this video, I will cover key topics including the fundamentals of qualification, various types of equipment and instrument qualifications, essential steps in the qualification process, protocol preparation and documentation, roles and responsibilities of personnel, managing deviations and change controls, and best practices for documentation and record keeping. I will also highlight common pitfalls and how to avoid them, followed by a quick summary and a dedicated Q&A segment. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to jot them down and share them in the comments section below. I'll make sure to respond to each one. Let's get started. Let's start. Qualification ensures that all equipment and instruments operate correctly, consistently, and in full compliance with regulatory requirements. In the pharmaceutical industry, equipment reliability is directly tied to product quality, and ultimately, patient safety. Malfunctioning or unqualified equipment can lead to serious issues such as incorrect dosages, contamination, or ineffective medications. Even minor deviations can pose significant health risks. Through proper qualification, we minimize these risks and ensure that every product manufactured is safe, effective, and of the highest quality. Regulatory bodies such as the FDA, EU GMP, WHO, MHRA, and national standards like Schedule M in India have established stringent guidelines for equipment qualification. These regulations are designed to ensure that all equipment used in pharmaceutical manufacturing adheres to the highest standards of safety, quality, and performance. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in regulatory actions, including warnings, fines, or even suspension of manufacturing activities. Adhering to these guidelines is not just a compliance requirement, it's a critical step in ensuring product integrity and patient safety. For instance, a pharmaceutical company recently received a warning letter from the FDA due to the improper qualification of their tablet compression machine. This lapse triggered a regulatory investigation, led to production delays, and resulted in significant financial losses. This example clearly highlights the importance of thorough equipment qualification, not just to ensure compliance, but to maintain smooth operations and protect a company's reputation. Qualification is performed in distinct stages, each serving a unique purpose. These stages ensure the equipment is suitable for its intended use throughout its life cycle. Let's begin with the first and most critical step, the User Requirement Specification, or URS. Before any equipment is purchased, it's essential to clearly define what is needed. This is done through a documented and approved URS, which acts as the foundation for both successful procurement and qualification of equipment or instruments. Take, for example, the purchase of an HPLC system. The URS might outline specific parameters such as the required flow rate range, the type of detector, and automation capabilities. Without a well-defined URS, there's a risk of acquiring equipment that doesn't align with operational requirements, potentially resulting in costly delays and inefficiencies. A well-crafted URS should be clear, concise, and include testable requirements. Remember, a user requirement specification must always be prepared and approved before issuing a purchase order. Now, let's move on to the next critical step, design qualification, or DQ. This stage should be carried out after the URS has been finalized but before the purchase order is confirmed. Design qualification involves reviewing and verifying the functional and operational specifications of the proposed equipment. It also documents the rationale behind selecting a specific supplier or model. The goal of DQ is to ensure that the equipment's design is capable of meeting both user requirements and relevant regulatory standards. For instance, imagine procuring a tablet compression machine that doesn't comply with GMP design requirements. This could lead to serious compliance issues later on. That's why a thorough design qualification is essential. It helps ensure the chosen equipment is truly fit for its intended purpose. Next, we come to installation qualification, or IQ, a vital step to ensure that the equipment is installed correctly and operates within the defined specifications from the outset. IQ involves verifying the availability and suitability of essential utilities, such as power supply, confirming proper installation of hardware and software, and conducting initial calibration. Every observation made during this process must be thoroughly documented. For example, if a stability chamber is installed without verifying the correct voltage supply, it may malfunction, potentially compromising product stability. By recording all observations during installation, we create a reliable audit trail that helps identify and resolve issues early, ensuring the equipment remains compliant and functions as intended from day one. Now let's look at operational qualification, or OQ. This phase focuses on verifying that the equipment functions as intended under normal operating conditions. During OQ, specific tests are conducted to ensure consistent and reliable performance. For instance, when qualifying an HPLC system, we would assess the accuracy of the flow rate, the detector's response, and the precision of sample injections. These checks confirm that the equipment can repeatedly meet the performance criteria defined in the URS and verified during design qualification. In short, OQ is all about ensuring that the equipment performs reliably, not just once, but every time. Finally, we have performance qualification, or PQ, the step where the equipment is tested under actual production conditions to confirm consistent, real-world performance. PQ ensures that the equipment not only works in theory but delivers reliable results during routine operations. For example, with a tablet compression machine, PQ involves verifying parameters such as weight uniformity, hardness, and dissolution across multiple production batches. This stage demonstrates that the equipment can consistently produce products that meet quality standards, ensuring both regulatory compliance and operational efficiency in real-life scenarios. Every qualification process must follow a well-structured and systematic approach to ensure that the equipment meets all required standards and complies with regulatory expectations. By following these defined steps, from URS to PQ, we help maintain consistency, reliability, and quality at every stage of the equipment lifecycle. This not only ensures compliance but also builds a strong foundation for efficient and trouble-free operations. First and foremost, it's essential to identify which equipment requires qualification by evaluating its potential impact on product quality. Any equipment that directly influences the safety, efficacy, or consistency of the final product should be prioritized for qualification. This ensures that critical systems are thoroughly assessed and meet all necessary standards before being put into use. Once the equipment has been identified for qualification, the next step is to define the test procedures, set clear acceptance criteria, and assign responsibilities. This structured approach ensures that all team members understand their roles, the specific tests to be performed, and the exact standards the equipment must meet to successfully pass the qualification process. It promotes accountability, consistency, and a smooth execution of each qualification phase. Once the qualification protocols are finalized, the necessary tests are carried out, and all results are meticulously documented. This thorough documentation ensures that the entire testing process is transparent, traceable, and fully compliant with regulatory requirements. Proper record-keeping not only supports audit readiness but also reinforces confidence in the reliability and integrity of the equipment. If any failures occur during the qualification process, they must be thoroughly investigated, and appropriate corrective actions should be implemented to resolve the issues effectively. Additionally, if any modifications are made to the originally approved protocols, they must be handled through a formal change control process. All changes should be properly documented and approved to maintain regulatory compliance and ensure the overall integrity of the qualification process. Once the qualification process is complete and all observations and test results have been thoroughly documented, a final review must be conducted by the Quality Assurance (QA) team. This critical review ensures that all predefined requirements have been met, all deviations have been addressed, and the equipment is fully qualified and ready for approval and use in manufacturing or testing operations. QA sign-off marks the official completion of the qualification process and the beginning of compliant, validated equipment usage. Now, let's talk about protocol preparation and the essential documentation involved. The qualification protocol is a critical document that outlines the specific procedures, responsibilities, and acceptance criteria for each phase of equipment qualification. It serves as a comprehensive guide to ensure all tests and checks are conducted accurately, consistently, and in compliance with regulatory expectations. Proper protocol preparation helps avoid ambiguity and ensures a smooth, well-documented qualification process from start to finish. The qualification protocol is a vital document that outlines the entire equipment qualification process in a structured and compliant manner. It typically includes the following key components: objective and scope. This section defines the purpose of the qualification and the areas it will cover. It sets the foundation for all subsequent activities. Roles and responsibilities clearly outlines who is responsible for each step of the process, ensuring accountability and smooth coordination. Equipment details includes critical information such as model, manufacturer, serial number, and specifications, all of which help in accurately identifying the equipment under qualification. Test methodology and acceptance criteria describes how each test will be conducted and the specific criteria for passing or failing. This ensures consistency and objectivity in evaluating results. Deviation handling and CAPA, corrective and preventive actions, defines the process for managing any deviations from the protocol and implementing measures to correct and prevent future occurrences. A common pitfall in protocol preparation is setting unclear or vague acceptance criteria. When criteria aren't clearly defined, test outcomes can become subjective or misinterpreted, potentially leading to non-compliance. That's why clear, precise, and testable documentation is essential for a smooth qualification process and to meet regulatory expectations confidently. The involvement of the right people is crucial to the success of any qualification process. Having a qualified and cross-functional team ensures that each phase, from planning to execution and final review, is handled with the necessary expertise and attention to detail. When the right individuals are involved, the process becomes more efficient, compliant, and aligned with both operational and regulatory expectations. Successful equipment or instrument qualification requires effective collaboration across multiple departments. Each team plays a critical role in ensuring the process is thorough, compliant, and aligned with operational needs. Engineering team, responsible for proper installation, utility connections, calibration, and initial equipment setup. Quality assurance, QA, reviews and approves qualification protocols to ensure they align with both regulatory requirements and internal quality standards. Validation team conducts the qualification tests, records data, and verifies that the equipment meets all defined specifications. Production or analytical team confirms that the equipment performs effectively during routine manufacturing or analytical operations. Regulatory affairs ensures that the entire qualification process adheres to applicable industry regulations and guidelines, helping to prevent compliance issues. This cross-functional collaboration ensures that every aspect of the qualification process is handled with care and expertise, leading to equipment that is reliable, safe, and fully compliant. When handling deviations and changes during the qualification process, it's essential to follow a structured and documented approach to maintain compliance and uphold the integrity of the entire process. Here's how to manage them effectively. Deviations occur when test results fail to meet the predefined acceptance criteria set in the qualification protocol. For example, if a tablet compression machine fails the weight uniformity test, it signals that the equipment isn't performing as expected. In such cases, a thorough investigation is required to determine the root cause. This could stem from issues such as equipment malfunction, incorrect machine settings, or even environmental conditions affecting performance. Once the cause is identified, appropriate corrective actions must be taken, such as recalibrating the equipment, adjusting process parameters, or repairing faulty components. All findings, actions taken, and results must be fully documented. This ensures regulatory compliance, supports future audits, and helps prevent the recurrence of similar deviations. Change control is essential when making any modifications to qualified equipment, for instance, replacing a faulty HPLC detector. Such changes must be carefully documented and evaluated to ensure they do not impact the equipment's performance, intended use, or compliance with regulatory standards. If changes are made without proper documentation, assessment, and, if necessary, requalification, they can lead to regulatory non-compliance, product quality issues, or operational risks. The change control process provides a structured framework to track, review, assess, and approve any modifications before implementation. This ensures that all changes are justified, validated, and do not compromise the reliability or integrity of the equipment or the overall process. Recordings and documentation are absolutely essential to ensuring a compliant, transparent, and efficient qualification process. Proper documentation not only supports audit readiness but also helps maintain traceability, accountability, and consistency throughout the life cycle of the equipment. Here are some best practices to follow. Proper documentation is not just good practice, it's essential for audits, data integrity, and regulatory compliance. One of the most reliable frameworks to ensure this is the ALCOA Plus principles, which form the foundation of good data management in the pharmaceutical industry. Here's what ALCOA Plus stands for. Attributable. Every entry should clearly indicate who performed the activity or test, ensuring accountability. Legible. All records must be clear and readable, allowing any reviewer or auditor to understand the data without confusion. Contemporaneous. Data should be recorded in real time or immediately after the activity, not hours or days later, to maintain accuracy. Original. Keep the original records intact. Any changes must follow approved procedures and be clearly documented. Accurate. All entries must be truthful and precise. If any corrections are necessary, they should be made transparently, with clear reasoning documented. The plus in Alcoa Plus adds further dimensions to data integrity. Complete. Include all relevant data and observations, no omissions. Consistent. Use standardized formats and processes to ensure uniform documentation practices. Enduring. Records should be secure, retained properly, and accessible over time to support traceability and compliance. For instance, there have been cases where companies received regulatory warnings because essential qualification logbooks were missing or incomplete, highlighting the critical importance of maintaining thorough, accurate, and retrievable records. Remember, good documentation is your first line of defense in audits and inspections. When it comes to equipment qualification, there are several common pitfalls that can compromise compliance, efficiency, and operational reliability. Recognizing these mistakes early and implementing best practices can help you avoid setbacks and ensure a smooth, successful qualification process. Some of the most common pitfalls include 1. Incomplete documentation. Issue. Failing to record key details such as test results, observations, and deviations can create major gaps during audits and compromise regulatory compliance. Solution. Ensure that every aspect of the qualification process is thoroughly documented, following the Alcoa Plus principles to maintain data integrity, traceability, and audit readiness. 2. Undefined acceptance criteria. Issue. Vague or unclear acceptance criteria can lead to confusion, inconsistent evaluations, and even equipment failure going unnoticed. Solution. Clearly define measurable and realistic acceptance criteria in the qualification protocol to remove ambiguity and ensure consistent assessments. 3. Poor deviation handling. Issue. Overlooking deviations, or failing to properly investigate their root cause, can result in recurring problems and regulatory risks. Solution. Establish a structured deviation management process that includes root cause investigation, corrective and preventive actions, CAPA, and proper documentation to resolve and prevent issues effectively. By proactively avoiding these pitfalls and adhering to industry best practices, you can ensure a smoother, more reliable qualification process, while significantly reducing the risk of non-compliance. To ensure a successful and compliant equipment qualification process, it's important to follow a set of well-established best practices. These practices not only enhance efficiency but also reduce the risk of errors and non-compliance. Defining clear objectives establish specific and measurable goals for the qualification process. Clearly outline what needs to be achieved, why it's important, and the expected outcomes. This keeps all activities aligned, focused, and purpose-driven, ensuring complete documentation follow the Alcoa Plus principles to maintain thorough, accurate, legible, and traceable records. Complete and compliant documentation is essential for audit readiness, accountability, and maintaining data integrity. Training personnel provide regular training to all personnel involved in qualification activities. Make sure everyone understands the procedures, equipment functions, regulatory requirements, and their individual roles and responsibilities. Well-informed teams ensure smoother execution and fewer errors. Regularly reviewing qualification status. Monitor the progress of ongoing qualifications regularly. This includes tracking milestones, identifying and resolving issues proactively, and ensuring that timelines and compliance requirements are met. By adopting these best practices, your qualification process becomes more organized, efficient, and audit-ready, while ensuring equipment reliability, product quality, and regulatory compliance. Now let's summarize our learnings today. In today's session, we explored the critical elements of equipment and instrument qualification in the pharmaceutical industry, a process that ensures equipment functions reliably, consistently, and in full compliance with regulatory standards. Here's a quick recap of the key takeaways. Qualification process. A systematic approach to verifying that equipment is suitable for its intended use and compliant with GMP requirements. Stages of qualification. We walked through each phase, URS, DQ, IQ, OQ, and PQ, outlining their purpose and importance. Key considerations. We emphasized the importance of complete documentation, following Alcoa Plus principles, and involving cross-functional teams such as engineering, QA, validation, and regulatory affairs, handling deviations and changes. You learned how to properly manage deviations through investigations and CAPA, and how to handle modifications through a structured change control process. Common pitfalls and best practices. We identified frequent mistakes like incomplete documentation and undefined acceptance criteria, and shared actionable best practices including clear objectives, proper training, and ongoing reviews. By adhering to these principles and implementing best practices, you can ensure a robust, compliant, and efficient qualification process that not only meets regulatory expectations but also enhances product quality and patient safety. If you have any questions or need further clarification on any of the topics we discussed today, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm always happy to help. You can also reach out to me directly or explore more in-depth insights on equipment and instrument qualifications on my blog, where I share detailed articles and industry best practices. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Do share this video with your friends and colleagues who might benefit from it. This is Rajesh, signing off. Keep learning, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one.